So this is going to be a late night analysis game. This is not Mojito Monday match analysis, but this is Wednesday. We're going to be doing a ad hoc analysis of Iron Chef versus ggoli. Iron Chef is playing as the Ethiopians, and ggoli is playing as the Vikings. I may have seen it play a couple days. I might have. So Iron Chef is currently ranked 945, and ggoli is, let me check his rank. He is ranked 988, so it's about a 950 to 1K rated game. And let's get right under it. So we're going to be focusing mostly on Iron Chef's perspective, simply because he's the one who submitted the replays. So a little bit slow of a start, but it's fine. Okay, so right off the bat, one thing you need to check real quick is do you have your sheep? And in this case, you don't. So you want to make sure to send your scout directly to the sheep and then start your scout path. Like, doing the scout is fine. But the reason for this is that I'm guessing that by the time you get your sheep and get them under the TC, you're going to have some idle time. So you want to minimize any amount of idle time, especially in the first couple minutes of the game, because that's when big differences can happen. Maybe it's not too big of a deal, but if the sheep were a little farther out, which they can be, like you have this idle time, you have to send them in, they have to walk. So that's my recommendation, is that do that. And then also, the more important, like, scouting is important to get your initial sheep and stuff, but more importantly is going to be your villagers. So I saw that you queued up all these individual flags, which is good, but the amount of APM you spend doing that would have been better shift queuing your vills to hit the sheep, targeting, having your town center rally point onto a sheep. Some small improvements there that can save you, 5 to 10 seconds and get you a leg up at the start. So you kill your sheep underneath the TC, which is good. If one thing you can do, especially because you have no actions right now. Forgot to change overlay, and your stream deck was glitching out on you. Oh, okay. So that's fair. In that case, take a pause. I'd always recommend, like, pausing is annoying and everyone complains about it, but it's there for a reason. And so long as you I always pause and then immediately will type in, say, hey, I'm having X issue. Like, hey, lag. Hey, keybinds. Hey, my stream is having an issue. Give me 1 sec. And people will be usually really generous about it. If you just pause and don't say anything, people might get salty and unpause without prompting. So that is the metagame strats right there. I'll always explain why you pause if you can. But yeah, that would explain some of it. Because, like, you have these 2 sheep, and you can send these sheep to do a scout, or even just send them close to the TC in case you have a opponent. At higher levels, it won't be too big of a deal, but, like, a lot of lower opponents might just, have a scout within the first 10 seconds, sprint out, and accidentally run past the TC and steal the sheep. Like, that's just an accident that could happen. So I would use your sheep, because especially, like I was saying, you don't have very many high APM actions right now besides your scout. You're queuing up more targets, which is good. You don't need to queue up this many, because I would recommend using your sheep. Queue up a couple. If you spent, like, so put it in a currency situation, you have, like, 9 shift clicks here, right? If you had spent these 4 and then spent the other 5 making these sheep scout this little area here, you'd save yourself a lot of time. And then by the time you've queued up all these guys, then the scout will have probably hit the 4th or 5th flag, and you can send up the rest of the queues. So that's just a small thing you can practice. It's not too big of a deal. Okay, you're moving the sheep to a slightly better location. Again, these sheep are doing nothing. You have a wood line, which is good. Got 6 on sheep, that's fine. We can speed up a little bit. But again, yeah, it's like, these sheep could be definitely doing something, because you don't have much to APM right now. Like, that's the thing, is that when you have time to use your actions, find things to do with them. And that's why you'll see, like, top level StarCraft players or streamers, whenever they're, like, early game top level StarCraft players, if you ever watch them, they spend the first, like, 2 minutes, not so much anymore, because they started the early drones, so you could actually have stuff to do, but, like, back in the day, they would queue up all their tasks and then just sit there doing this, because they try to maintain a constant APM, and so they have so much downtime that they just do this. But we don't have in AoE, we're lucky, we don't have downtime like that, because we can queue stuff up. So we can queue up all these actions, we can queue up the sheep, so just, like, we can make sure to shift queue going from one sheep to another. There's all these small little actions you can do that will slightly improve you and gain you those small little percentages. So here's another problem. is that, again, you said you were changing up your overlay, so maybe it's not too big of a deal because you were distracted. But when you have 6 on sheep, you only need 6 for the opening. You rarely ever want 7, especially Ethiopians don't. Or I don't even know unless you're doing it as a super early scout rush or something. But in this situation, you'd want to shift. You would want to rally point to a wood line because your next goal is going to be creating a lumber camp. And so this amount of time that this guy has spent also suck in this game. Hey, these are like, don't be down on yourself. Like I'm like, unfortunately, this is how I do my analysis. Is I talk about everything. And it's just these small little things that can improve. And it's like you're saying you're only 950 and you're gonna be stuck there forever. What that tells me is like if you're struggling a little bit making all these build orders proper and like shift queuing and stuff, your late game is probably solid. Like I've watched you too. It's like you know what to do. If you just tighten up on these early game things, you're gonna be in such a better position to emphasize your innate ability to actually have a decent late game. So that's why it's like I'm gonna be critical about this kind of things because these are skills you can easily learn and will instantly have a noticeable improvement on your gameplay. Whereas like late game stuff is a lot more like, you could do this, you could do that, maybe you switch here, maybe not. These ones are much more cut and dry, and so it bears repeating that if you do these things properly, you're gonna have a better situation. And so it's me like talking about them just kind of re-emphasizes the point and makes you think about it hopefully a little more. And like it's not too big of a deal. So you're sending this one to go to lumber. Like yeah, you have the right. You know what to do exactly. It's just adding that little shift queue or adding the rally points would save you a couple save you half a second, which would get you a little bit extra wood faster. So another thing is you haven't moved your sheep up. So if you're not going to use your sheep to scout, make sure they're right up close. Or after they've moved on to another sheep, always get another sheep underneath, and then set your you shift queue to the next sheep. So you always want to have these villagers. I usually hotkey these villagers and then shift queue them. Specifically, it helps with pulling boars. But in this situation, if you shift queue, if I put these onto 2, I can do some other stuff, and then 2, move the sheep in, shift queue on the sheep, and then I'm set. So, because at this point, when you finish up the sheep, either you're gonna have to wait for a sheep to get under the TC, or you're gonna kill him. And so this is so you see they call them in, and you have to idle. You have 6 villagers idling there so that you have optimal sheep farming. And so that's unfortunate, but it's not too big of a deal. It's just something to be improved on. So you have 3 on wood, which is good. We'll see where this guy next. So your rally point is on wood, which is good. Force dropping, that's fine. Don't necessarily need to do it, but it's not a bad idea. So let's see. Okay, so you've moved over. Okay, good. So cool little thing. You are splitting 2 and 2, which is really smart to do. That optimizes your lumber. We'll see where your rally point is next. Onto the boar. Nice. So small thing. It doesn't matter here. Like you're going to the boar. That's perfectly good. Like there's nothing to complain about here. I would recommend, however, getting this boar, just because theoretically, if you were playing Hera, you'd be screwed in the first place. But this boar is more lameable than that boar. Also, it means that if his scout is coming out and he scouts these areas and he comes across this, there's a chance that he could snipe your bill. So I would always go for the forward boars first, just as like it's one of those things that it won't matter for a very long time for you. But if you start doing it now, then you don't have to worry once it does matter. And that goes for a lot of things. It's like splitting up your guys on lumber camps. It doesn't really matter at this level. Like it makes such a small little difference. But once it does start mattering, you already have the memory and you already have the muscle memory that it helps. So, small little thing, but like, I can't complain. You're going for your boar at, after populating your sheep and wood, you're perfect. 2 shots, alright, I usually do 1 without loom, but, so you forgot to update your rally point, which is not bad, but, okay, so house. So this is why I'm updating your, granted at this point you forgot to change your rally point. So so as soon as you have a villager head out to the boar, the next thing you should do is update your rally point, either to the berries or to where you want to place a house. This house does nothing. Like yeah, you're gonna build it, but at this point I would just build it right here. Less idle time, and you get the house down earlier. If you're not gonna use the house to wall, then just build it outside of 3 tile range, but like right away. So I would have set the rally point up to like over here or up here and use the house to wall, or you could have just built it right here and added into this little mini house wall. and then you set your next rally point to the berries. Didn't want to lame farm space with the house? Right. So late game, you can always elite houses to build more farms. But again, that's why you building houses on a lumber line as a pseudo wall can help a lot. But more importantly, if you lane, like if you were to put a house here, you're probably putting the mill here anyway. So it's like if you interfere with a single farm space, it's not too big of a deal, because by the time that single farm space matters, when you have a fully populated TC farm and you have a fully populated mill farms, you probably could drop another mill and more farms. So like, it's a very good idea, very smart to actually move the farm elsewhere. I was also thinking of quick wall possibilities if you took the wood line, and that's a 200 IQ play, and that's totally fine to do. Yeah, but the thing with like quick walling is that usually, since you build lumber camps Tetrisy, you're gonna be able to quick wall without houses. So it's like you'd be better off building it somewhere. Like lumber lines usually are pretty easy to quick wall themselves. Where you'd rather want the places that are a little harder to quick wall are going to be like the open areas of like farms, gold. Like if you were to build a house over here as part of a quick wall for the gold, I could see that a little more. Should have moved to the TC gather spot. Yeah. And again, like TC gather spots, as long as you catch it, like it's not too big of a deal. You're luring, good lure. So I would have, yeah. So you garrison, that's good. You don't lose a vill. My only recommendation would be try to garrison your villager before it takes that extra shot, because this vill being on 1 life or 1 hit versus 2 hits is a huge difference, and you can say is going to be way more snipeable by scouts and stuff. So luckily, like, that gather point wasn't the worst, because you had to pass the berries. You update that anyways. That's good. Hopefully you build another house. Build another house. Perfect. Again, I would have liked to see the... Like, if you put these 2 houses... Here, let's see something real quick. So you didn't scout this, but, like, you could have built your houses here, walled off that. You could have built your 2 houses here, and used this stone as part of a wall. And then that gives you a lot of awareness before, like... Because, like, imagining trying to quick wall here. If you have your 2 house walls here, and then they come in through this, you're going to have just as much time to be able to quick wall in there. So you'll see them a little head up. But, so far so good. Like, you have your gather point on the berries, which is good. I assume you're doing an archer, like 23 archer, or men-at-arms archer, 4 wood. I'm guessing archers, right? Again, you could probably move a goat in. You could move a goat, one of your cows in, just to be ready. But no idle time for the TC. You got all that going. Sending out to get your other boar, which is good. Where's your gather points? So 4 on berries. So you move a cow. Nice. Always going archers. I was the same way for the longest time. Archers is always a very good thing. Does archers take 5 on berries? Give me a sec. I didn't think archers took 5 on berries. 23 archers. 23 archers takes 4 on berries. Are you doing men-at-arms? So men-at-arms takes... This looks like a men-at-arms build, honestly. So I'm assuming it's men-at-arms and archers. Because you should only have 4 on berries for 23 pop archers. But... Archers takes 5 on berries in this game. Alright, so well, give me a sec. So it depends on where we're looking at. So, like, I am a stringent believer in AoE to screen. In, Cicero's build orders. In this particular game. Okay. Archers take 5 and berries in this particular game. That's fair. Because, like, they are supposed to only take 4. But, having extra food isn't too big of a deal. It means it won't be as tight, but still fun. So, again, that's a small little nitpick. So you get your boar pull, which is good. Still take a little bit too much damage. You have too many on... Yeah, so you send these 2. Hopefully you update your rally points to the boar. So one small thing you could do is that this boar still has a handful of food. If you put 20 on berries and it takes 20... No. You don't get to do that, Iron Chef. That is entirely Coleslaw's job. Coleslaw's the only one who's allowed to do 20 on berries and have it look good. So after you have them queue onto the... Like, you can have them... After they kill the boar, send a couple of them and just right-click the boar, the rotting boar, and immediately shift queue onto the next boar. And they'll just grab that extra couple pieces of food and move on to the boar. Again, it's a very small amount of food, but that is food you're wasting right now. So, small little improvements like that you would just get an extra 6 food, which can be huge. So you do that. Not in this situation. But okay, so idle time. So you're moving on. That's good. Moving on to another. Oh, you're building a barracks. Okay. So this looks like more like a men-at-arms rush. If this is a men-at-arms rush, this is a men-at-arms build. Like, this is on spot for a men-at-arms build. Again, I would build this barracks next to the tree line, so I'd move it over one, just to give it an actual, like, built-in wall. Even, I'd probably actually go put it here. I haven't looked at your scouting, but you're scouting for your opponent, which is good. But if you put, like, I just moved the barracks onto one of the tree lines to build an actual wall. So... and it's not required in this particular game, yes, but it is good practice to get the proper build orders, so that it's just, you know, the more reps you put in the correct way, the more likely you are to keep doing it properly. So unfortunately you're not scouting right now, which is fine. My thing, usually my early games, my strats with scout, is that after I've scouted my resources in my base, I will shift queue my scout in a couple spots. I'll shift queue down here, I'll shift queue over here, and up here. Or like kind of where I think they would be, just so my scout always has actions, and then that way I don't have to focus too much on the scout. I can keep switching between them, and you know, kind of like do my micro and then switch over, and then go back. But making sure that your scout is always doing something, because like at the same time, if you don't have the APM to focus on the scout, then just throw them on auto scout. There's no shame in throwing them on auto scout after you've scouted your own base, just because it makes your scout do something. Because right now he's just idling, which is unfortunate because you don't know where your opponent is, especially if you're going to do a men-at-arms rush or archers. You need to know your opponent and what they're up to. Information is super important. So you have 2 onto gold. So I would send these 2 to build a gold pile or a mining camp, unless you're going for a drush, which I think is a little late for a drush. But build a mining camp first and then have them collect gold. So you send them all on food. You have an idle villager, which is unfortunate. But actually, here, real quick, let's just check see what your opponent's doing. So he has an idle scout. He has a forward villager. Exciting. 4 on wood. 3 on berries. These guys are going... Let's see what he's looking at. Mining camp. Mining camp. Okay, so this guy doesn't know build orders, which is fine. But, oh, you're almost there. Nice. Has he gotten his boars? He has gotten the boars. Okay, so he's fine. Like, his build order is not very clean, but, you know, it's fine. He's not using his houses to do much. Like, those houses are pretty terrible, but his build looks fine so far. I'm assuming this was not a Tetris. So you Tetris this berry camp, but, okay, so let's focus on you and see what is going on. He just has his villager out here out in the open. Interesting. Oh no, he's moving him forward. A forward house. And he's already going feudal. So he's trying to do a super interesting aggression. Okay. I am excited to see where this goes. So he might be, oh, he's probably tower rushing, that's why. Except you'd send 5 forward. You need to send more villagers forward if he's tower rushing. Anyways, this is where scouting your opponent would be very helpful. If you had sent your scout in to check the stuff out, we would have a much better idea of what he's doing. But you have a lot on wood. So once you click up to feudal, I assume it's probably too quick. So a couple things. One, when you click up to feudal, there's 2 things you should do. One is immediately pull your food off because you don't need all this food. You send these guys to a lumber camp. You send or to a gold camp, and then that way, A, you don't run out of herdables too quickly, and then B, you start gathering more resources that are needed. You can also start throwing out some farms. Don't wait till horse collar, because if you start getting some farms early, then it spreads out your eco. Because you want to maintain, because something that a lot of people don't understand is that if you eat up all your herdables and your if you eat your herdables too fast, you're gonna have to go switch over to berries or berries, because you won't have the wood eco to support all those farms being dropped. And then, because you have so many on berries, you're going to eat through the berries super fast. And then you're going to have all this idle time, because it takes a while for you to have the eco set up to properly build a farm eco. And so that's why it's like, the moment you click up to feudal, your first thing, like the moment you hit 500 food in Dark Age, stop having all these people collect food. You don't need 14 or 15 on food. You want to get up to 8 to 10 on wood. because that way you have enough wood for your buildings come feudal age, and then your herdables last longer again. So you're building a house. Are you going to be building anything in the barracks? Because if you don't build anything in the barracks, so one of the reasons you don't build your barracks in the 23 pop archer rush is because you want to save your barracks to be built during feudal. So like after you click up is when you would go and build your barracks, because if you're not already producing out of it, then you spent all that idle time that could have been spent on this guy collecting food to get you to castle or feudal just slightly faster, going over and walking to the barracks, building the barracks, and it's just not a useful spending of his idle time. So he's building a forward house. You still are collecting extra. I'm assuming you're going to be building some militia, because that's why you do a non-mining camp. But okay, so you do make some militia. That's good. So you're doing a men-at-arms build, which is, so then everything I said is different. The other thing is I would recommend not queuing up loom right away, because that food and gold could be going towards queuing up militia. If you queue it up in the TC at this time, those are some resources you don't have access to, and might be needed just to get that one extra militia. So I would recommend not doing that right away. And then later, once you've queued up all the militia you need to queue up, like for example, if you want to queue up 3 militia and then focus on everything else, you don't have the food to do that right now. But if you hadn't researched loom, then you'd have enough food to grab that 3rd militia, and then you wouldn't have to worry about actually making sure that you remember to queue them up. So you start dropping farms, which is good. You're starting to use your scout, which is good. You still don't know his base location, which is unfortunate. So one of the things is that if you don't know where your opponent's base is, I almost wouldn't go forward with a men-at-arms rush. Every game is like a Grateful Dead song for you. In what way? I don't know. I'm not enough of a deadhead to know that reference. But if you don't know where your opponent is, everyone is different. If you don't know where your opponent is, I'd be worried about sending forth militia, just because you could have so much idle time that by the time they hit the opponents, it's already kind of wasted. Like they might have walled up, they might have already had defenses set up. You need to know where your opponent, what they're up to, before you can send your militia forward. So that's one of the concerns I have here. But also, you have so much idle time on this villager walking back and forth. If you had just built a mining camp, it would have been so much smarter. You have a lot of extra wood. It would have been fine. So you have 2 militia. And again, this is where, if you're only going to build 2, that's fine. But you want to have them start walking forward, because the moment you get your men-at-arms upgrade, you want these guys to be hitting. Iron Chef, thank you so much for the subscription, my friend. I get a fun little emote as well. Always a pleasure, and I do enjoy casting these games, or analyzing these games, and thank you so much for the subscription, man. So let's keep going. So real quick, there should be some emotes coming in the next couple days. The first one I think is going to be a mojito heart. I submitted them and they have to be approved, blah blah blah. So they should be coming soon. But thank you so much for these. Thank you so much for subscribing. So he's at feudal age. You're about to hit feudal age. You're all good. So you've built 2 militia and no more. Again, this is probably the biggest problem. If your guys don't have loom, that scout could have killed this villager easy. So that's why, like, grab loom early or build a mining camp so you can wall up and stuff. But so the other thing is you have all these villages. You only have, oh yes, you moved more onto wood, so that's good. I missed this. That's exactly what you want to do. Unfortunately, so one thing is that yes, you moved all these guys over. A small improvement would be to move one of these guys onto the other lumber line. If you balance 5 and 5, it's going to be a lot more balanced when it comes to bouncing into each other and saving some idle time. Because when you have too many on one lumber line, they start bouncing, and you want to balance it out. So 5 and 5 is the recommended. Yo, what's up, Waffles? How we doing tonight? So that's good. And then again, you haven't scouted, like, you're scouting your opponent now, so you found your opponent. That's good. And building up these palisades, I guess. Again, you don't know what your opponent's doing, so I wouldn't blind wall up, but I can't complain too much about this. I would probably wall first the front side of your base, though. I would wall here, I'd wall here, I'd wall here. Just because you'll just be a view bot for me. Gotta go gym. Dude, Waffles, before you go, what time is it? Are you a late night gymmer as well? Because I started going to the gym at like 1 a.m. and I'm the only one there, and let me tell you, it's great. But thanks for stopping by. Hopefully your gym session is good. Let me know what kind of lifting you do, because I'm a power lifter, so I'm always happy. Now it's only 5:50. Okay, p.m. Are you Australian time or something? So sick of being flanked wall every time. And yeah, that's fair. But the thing is, you're more likely to be rushed from the front. So if you're going to wall, build a wall in the front of your base, and then on the sides, and then the rear. Unless there's something small, like for example over here, like this is where drop a house real quick. That's fine. But in general, like this wall isn't useful until later. You can deal with aggression from the front. Yes, but I would highly recommend building your wall. Like if you're worried about getting flanked, then what you do is you make 2 spearmen, send them back here. Plus, like, if you're scouting your opponent, you should know that they're coming. If they're building scouts, then you know that. He is building a forward barracks, and he sent 4 villas. You are getting tower rushed, my man. Not all worried about 3 scouts coming from in front of me. That's fair. I am. I recommend that you do be afraid of that, simply because it is much more likely that they're going to do that. And then by the time that, like, if they run up, they're going to see this wall, and then they're going to start going around, and that gives you time to react to it. But how fast you went up, I was expecting scouts. So if you went up that fast, so again, you have these militia. If you know he's hunting scouts, then you want these militia to start doing something, and you want to start queuing up pikes. That's one of the things that you have these. You've made these militia. They're not doing anything right now. They're not gaining ground. They're not heading towards your opponent. They're just idling. So I would recommend sending them forward. Check his berries. So one thing you can always do, check to see how many villagers on his berries he has. If he has a bunch on his berries, then you know that like it's more likely. Like you could count if it's 5, it is a heavier food build. If it's only 4, it's archers. Again, that's not too big of a deal. If he's overpopulated the berries and he's messed something up, you could gather some information from that. But if he hasn't taken berries, then I don't know what's happening. But it's a weird game. So you hit feudal. What do you do with your militia? Still nothing. That's a lot of food and gold you invested. You're finally building your gold camp. Archery range. Again, this archery range is fine. But if you're gonna build a wall here, then you should have built your house and barracks here as well, and make it as part of a wall. Building the archery range here is a little bit better. Like this doesn't really wall too much. Like yeah, you can build some 2 houses here, but that leaves this in no man's land. When you're building, like when you're building your base, it helps to figure out what the plan is early on and just kind of make sure to coordinate all the buildings, because it's a small thing that might not have any effect, but if it does have an effect, it's pretty big. Like yes, you could argue that you could close this off and then they have to go through the TC to get your lumber line, which is a totally fine argument. But then again, you should have planned for that and built a smaller base with these 2 inner on the inside, and then that way you can expand later. So, like again, though the other thing is that this builds right, little lessens your idle time, but small things. So you have your militia, you send them forward. That's fine. So you're grabbing so that's another problem. Is like now you're building your 3rd militia. At this point, the 3rd militia is just too late. These militia should already be near his base, and you should be probably researching man-at-arms at most, or just abandoning the militia plan. Researching a 3rd militia in feudal is just too slow. I would not recommend that, especially because if you're saying you're expecting scouts, militia isn't what you want. Make a safety pike. Make 2 safety pikes. Make a safety pike. Put one here. Make a safety pike. Put one here. And then his rush is going to be like any scout rush he sends at you is going to be way worse. So, still getting some good scouting information. Okay, so if you see he's on stone, and he's quick walled it, like, you should know immediately that you send the scout back. You send the scout back. You send these militia to check stuff out. Like that's likely that you're getting tower rushed. So, hopefully you see that the fact that I don't know if you see this, but so. There's another problem. One, the scout's out of position. These militia didn't see this. If you ever see a forward building from your opponents, I guess you can keep sending these guys forward, because you may as well. But there's a very high chance. Like, don't send this one forward. Start figuring out how to defend against. Like, honestly, what I would have done is these 2 militia, I would have gone and scouted this and seen what he was doing. And brought the scout back. Or just started using the scout to harass. But, and now, so yeah, again, you're researching your men-at-arms after you've been in feudal for like a minute and a half. It's not worth it at this time. He's seen your militia. He's seen your scout. It's very dangerous to research this late because by the time it's useful, like granted, probably ends up being useful because he's doing a rush on you. And he has his own men-at-arms, but you are getting tower rushed. So, again, so that's one of the things that if you see your opponents on stone, you need to knock them off that stone right away. That's not even fully walled. That is an interesting fast wall. But you should be using your scout to harass at most and check out to see what he's doing. Because right now, you don't really know where he's at. You know he has, like, you can assume his base is right here. You don't know where his lumber line is. You don't know where his resource. You know where some of his resources are, and also you should have seen the stone and know that hey, he's towering you. And so this villager this scout should be harassing those guys, but you can't see that you're getting towered. But I would be building either pikes or militia at this point because you know that something's coming. Okay, so you do go and pick off a couple berry bales, which is really good, or you harass the hell out of him. Again, if you see he's on stone, immediately fight the stone. Are you sending your own villagers forward to do a tower rush? Iron Chef, you're a madman. You're a madman. Okay, so, couple things. One, I don't agree with this at all. But, if you're going to do that, one, you have to expect that you're getting towered. Two, even if you didn't expect that, if you're going to drop towers, you need to start mining stone. You should be mining this stone already, or mining this stone. So the moment, like, before you go and send this tower forward, well, one, this tower is already late, but you should be harassing already. The villagers should already be forward. You should be using this scout to help with the attack. A scout and three men-at-arms is much better than 3 men-at-arms. Additionally, you haven't seen any defensive forces from him. You should be assuming you're getting... This is also the 3rd game in a row that you've been trushed. Allow. I don't know... NGA. Oh. So, you said endgame, which NGA is what is... which is moderated, which understandably, and was happened right. I'm not, trust me, I'm not as upset by it, but Nightbot thought that it could be, which I understand why it would moderate that, so it's fine. So this is also the 3rd game in a row that you've been trushed. Yeah, I don't like getting trushed either. The important thing to know though is that you need to scout. Like that's the value of scouting. If you had known that he was trusting you a little earlier, you could have dropped this tower way earlier. So yeah, you send these guys. These guys should be attacking this. These men-at-arms should be attacking this resource already. You should be attacking that immediately or sending these guys back to defend. You should also be using your scout. But are you producing defensive units? You're not producing any defensive units, which is a dangerous thing. Because he has quite the forces in front of you, and he's hopscotching his towers. So that's a fine. Yeah, I think his towers are pretty good. Like he is towering very, very well. If you know you're gonna get towered, you can consider a defensive tower or something. But like you can see this now, so we'll see how you react. Hopefully you're not microing too hard over here. Okay, so you send these guys forward, which is good. I think you can get past this. So yeah, you shouldn't be attacking the. You should be attacking the villagers. Now you've knocked them off stone, which is huge. You should micro these guys a little bit more and, you know, chase after them and stuff. But, again, your scout's not doing anything. Use your scout. But we'll see how you handle the pressure. So you have an archer going for... archer coming to harass some vills. That's fine. I don't think he's going to do too much because he's going to die. Building another archer range. So I don't know how I feel about building archer ranges on a tower rush because archers kind of get wrecked by towers since they can't get under them. But at this point you should know that. Yeah, so you lost that. You have your archers coming forward, researching that, which is good. So archer range, I guess, but I would build a defensive tower. Like this is when you start building defensive tower and fast walling. You build a defensive tower here, like instead of this, if you had built a defensive tower here to defend your gold, and then on your stone, you'd be pretty well set. But Ooh, and you had a weak Vil. Side note, Nightbot is a little overzealous at times. I'd rather Nightbot be overzealous than underzealous, honestly, because it's easy to fix overzealous, but I would hate to let bad things slip through. But yeah, so defensive towers, like the moment you see this tower, this game is pretty much Miles Davis at this point. I don't know the reference to that either, my friend. I'm sorry. But if you were to put some towers, like a defensive tower here, a defensive tower here, you don't have to worry about him cutting you off of your resources. Like, you're cutting him off a stone already. You also need to find where his other stone is. Which, again, this is where your scouting information would be very helpful. Because if you know where his other stone is, then you know what to cut him off of. But, again, the archery range, I don't agree with. I'd rather have another barracks to get more men-at-arms. Because you know he's going men-at-arms. And men-at-arms are better at taking down towers. Miles Davis something? Improv? Okay. Yeah, so he's going to come tower this wood line, which is fine. You have a secondary one. Yeah, not the best fight, but, I mean, he kills the scout and he doesn't micro it at all, so that's good. You're building a tower here, which is fine. I wouldn't send all these villagers to build this one tower. I would send some of them to build a second tower here. Again, you've taken him off of his one of his stone where he's built a... Where are these guys going? You've already taken him off of his stone, so we can take a look and see where his other stone is. It's very unlikely that he's already moved to the other stone because you just took him off of it. So you have the stone advantage in this tower war. So you haven't been harassed at all in this tower. So building an extra defensive tower here with these guys would be a lot better. So, also building men-at-arms. So another thing you can do is either build another men-at-arms back here, barracks back here. But start building some men-at-arms to be able to counter his men-at-arms. Except you don't have the stone. Oh, yes. How much guard tower? Yeah. You want 5. Usually you want 5 on stone. So if you have 5 on... All the guides recommend 5 on stone on set. You want 5 on stone just because that'll get you the stone fast enough to get... Not necessarily constant towers, but more towers than normal. So you're only doing 3. And if you look at your resources, you have plenty of wood. And you're not going to be building much wood. Like, you're going to be making some archers. But right now you need this stone more. Also, you pulled all these guys off, which is a separate problem. But if you had moved if you had moved 2 of these guys onto stone, you'd be in a much better situation. Because this mini on the tower isn't useful. You only need half of them here. So that's a good defensive tower. But you're idling your villagers, which I'm assuming you probably... Hold on, let's see. Okay, so you're microing up here. Yeah, so you're microing up here, which is fine. I'd move these villagers to start towering another thing. You're fucked that tower doesn't go up first. Yes and no. If you match... So usually the idea is that if you match their number of their villagers, or go +1. So in this situation, he had 4 villagers building that tower. You send 5. You only need 5 to build that tower, get it up before him, and then trade. He had a head start too. Okay, if he had a head start, then you maybe need a couple more. But because what will happen is that if he gets if you get 5 on your tower, by the time his tower completes and starts firing, it's only gonna be able to hit 1 or 2 of your vills, and your tower should go up. I think that was a little overzealous, but the idea is sound. I still think, like, if these 4 had been mining stone, you'd be in a better situation. If these 4 had been building another tower, you'd be in a better situation. So, so yeah, the tower's gonna do some pretty good work. You need to get these guys off here so they don't get picked off by the village. By the time you micro a villager fight, nice. I think that's a waste of a vill, I'll be honest, because he's gonna die. But it's not the worst idea to try to harass the vills. Building a house here, probably just make some more walls, that's fine. Don't repair this building. You don't need to. You're going to get sniped by the tower. And now that he's down to... You saw he's out of villagers, or, like... You don't need to keep 5 in here to take down this tower. You can keep 1 or 2 if you need to, but send the other 3 to go, like, to this lumber line, to the stone, to build farms. You don't need to, like... Once you've gained the tower superiority, you don't need to have too many villagers countering that tower, because you're already winning this tower fight. So I would focus... I would not have attacked with that vill. That's where it's like, if you had built a man-at-arms, that man-at-arms could have cleaned up those 2 villas before he reacted. But, like, yeah, you've defended this very well. Like, you lost that villager there, so it's like you didn't need to repair that. Again, you build 2 men-at-arms, clean up these 2 men-at-arms, and his rush is done. So, now you just have to make sure not to panic. Archery range. So, okay. I don't like his archery range. One, this archery range isn't going to die. The tower is not going to deal anywhere near enough damage to kill the archery range by the time that his tower goes down. You do not have the eco to support 3 ranges. You might not even have the eco right now to support 2 ranges. But you're defeating his tower rush and you're counter rushing him. So right now, your most important thing is to find out where his stone is and counter his stone. Like, that's why it's like, you scout this, you send your militia over here to deal with that stone, you win. So the 3rd range is not worth it. Again, this could have been, I would have just focused on maybe houses or walling, or use that wood just to build more archers. And you could instead of rally pointing them behind, you could rally point them into the building and then send them all at once. But I don't think this is a very good idea for this archery range. You want 3 ranges? Yes, you do not have the eco for the 3 ranges. You do not have an eco right now. You have 29 villagers, 2 of which are building towers or doing nothing, which, again, you tower this, you win. You have a bunch of villagers running around. At this point, he wasn't going to go up. Right. Ever. Right, and that's why it's like, you're winning. So the way you win in that situation, if your opponent's not going to go up, is you need to out-eco him. Building a 3rd range does not help with that. So you're going to run him over? Yes. Yo, Coop, thank you so much for the subscription. How are you tonight, too, Coop? Big hearts. I'll have emotes coming in soon. They are being approved or unapproved or whatever. I got them from one of my friends who's an artist, and so I should be getting some emotes coming soon, so I'm excited for those. So thank you so much. But I was pissed because it's the 3rd game in a row. Right. So let's talk about mental game. Good. How's it going? It's going great. I had a very good game. I was like 6-1 in DM tonight. I won my 1 RM game. That was super tight. I beat a castle all in. It's been a great night for me. Work was meh. But now I'm analyzing a Iron Chef Tower Rush special, and it is brutal, as all Tower Rushes are, and we can talk real quick about mental game. Mental game is the most important part of these kind of games. If you panic or you get upset, you're going to play worse. I fully understand getting upset. I get super salty at Tower Rushes too. But you have to understand where your limits are, and in this situation, your limit is 2 ranges at most. If you were to produce constantly out of 2 ranges and build your eco behind it, you still would run him over. Absolutely. But you don't have that. You don't have the eco to build out of 3 ranges properly. Like, you could probably you wasn't panicked at all. Not necessarily panicked, but you might have been upset. You were salty, right? You're pissed. Being pissed is almost worse. 3rd range is fine. We can disagree. We can agree to disagree here, but you would be more than happy. I think you would be able to produce just in plenty with a 3rd range, or with just 2 ranges. Agree to disagree. I strongly recommend that until you get castle, you don't need a 3rd range, because once you run out of because you can build. Let's see. Hold on, something real quick. 25 wood, 45 gold. 25 wood, 45 gold. You have enough gold. You have no one mining gold. You can build 2 archers right now. 2. If you want to build skirms, you can build 1 skirm. You don't have the eco to support this. You need both wood eco, which allows you currently to build nothing. If you're doing nothing with wood, you can get 10 archers right now, but you would need 400 some gold. So unless you send all your villagers to gold, you're not getting the gold income to produce that many archers. So that's where I would say that is a mistake. So, because also you're idling these 2 gold, who happen to be gold miners. So if you had those guys working, you're gonna lose. Oh wow, he doesn't micro this. So you're gonna lose these fills unless you micro fight back. But also at this point, if you know he's gone heavy on towers, again, a defensive tower on your stone or your gold would have been super helpful. A defensive tower on your gold would have been really good. But you are countering. So here, Okay, so we've talked about your defense. We're talking about your plan, which is going to overrun it with archers, which is a fine plan. But again, you don't have the eco to support 3 ranges. But so your defense has been pretty on point. I would have. There's a couple things I would have done better, but you're in a fine position defensive wise, except for the fact that you're not mining gold. On the offensive side, there's a couple things you should do better. One, you have maintained. You have taken him off of his two mineral patches. These men-at-arms are wasted away here. You send these guys to attack these palisades, he has to panic. Towering this gold is good, but not really. He's off of that gold, and you're denying him. But at this point, you want to cause even more chaos because once you've denied this gold already, he's not trying to take this back. So building a tower here only slows him down in the future. He can move to another gold patch. Granted, his other gold patch is garbage, which you might know. But he is not reliant on this gold patch right now. So you send these militia to attack this palisade, and you tower the lumber line. So let's see your fog of war. Yeah, so if you see him on the lumber line, you should immediately tower this lumber line. You do not need to tower the gold, especially because you keep your militia over here. So I would send these militia to go harass these guys. Like, the militia are better at checking to make sure that your opponent's not doing anything else. And then, yeah, towering the lumber line would be way more important. So, defense-wise, you're going to lose Archer for nothing. And again, you don't have the eco to support your archers, which I think is fine. Like, okay, so now you're building a tower. That tower is not a smart idea, yeah, because his men-at-arms are already there. Tower right here. Tower right here would work. That tower is kind of in the middle of nowhere. I don't fully agree with it, but you should be sending guys onto wood, onto gold. Kill that men-at-arms. And you have your archers here so you can actually deal with the men-at-arms. So honestly, with these archers now, I don't even know if you need a tower, because you have the archers to be able to micro to take out these men-at-arms. Tower right where you're going to put it. What do you mean? So you built this tower. Oh, he has a tower. Okay. Was that tower? How long was that tower there for? I may have missed that. He walked away with his men-at-arms? Yeah. So that's the problem with doing these defensive towers, is that if you do them in response to your men-at-arms, they can run away. If you had built this earlier as a defensive tower, then you wouldn't have to worry about that. But now you should be going heavy on gold, which I think you do, which is good. Yeah, so that's really good. You start getting... Now you might be able to start producing. Again, I'd almost... Yeah, you send your men-at-arms in to go hit this tower. Okay. Or not. Yeah. He is chopped through there. I hope... Oh, wow. He is really chopped through. So, yeah, you now harass the lumber line, which is good. I almost wouldn't even bother. Again, this is one of those situations where I don't necessarily know winning this tower war is worth it. Again, you go and keep him off this lumber line. You see he's on stone here. You send your villagers around to, like, tower him back. Might be good. I mean, this is fine because it's forcing him idle time with some villagers. It's forcing him to focus on this. But, like, killing this lumber line is huge. So, he's run back over here. He's building a forward tower. Again, this is why, like, a defensive tower here would be pretty smart. Oh, you're just going to send your vills forward? Not a bad idea. Send the vills to kill the vill. Send the vills to kill the vill. Don't kill the tower. Kill the vill. You kill that vill and that tower's not going up. You're going to lose vills instead. If you had sniped that vill, then no more towers. So, otherwise, yeah, like, you're still producing, which is all good. You lost that tower, which is fine. Like, you give this up. You give this up. You send your men-at-arms to go deal with this, but he's trying to tower. Like, a tower rush or defensively towering is a win for you. He has a villager hiding there. But you should pull these guys back and go tower, like, the berries or something. Like, you could build a couple more offensive towers. But, so far so good. You move your guys back, which is good. This is when you go and wall in your tower. So we can't send villas forward to fight it. But so now you find his other stone. These guys need to do something more useful, like attack the palisades on the stone. But So again, this is why I was saying 3 ranges isn't worth it. One, you're only producing 2 archers out of 1. You're not using the other 2, so the 3 ranges isn't worth it. You have so much wood floating, you don't have enough gold to follow it. At the very least, build a market and then sell some of the wood. So, you have the archers now. You can just, as long as you pay attention, go take out that villager. Forgot to control group them. Oof. Please tell me you see this. Please tell me you see this. And you get housed. Okay, you do. Nice. So, at this point, yeah, things are going good. Oh, you sent... Fucking nice. I love it. So you're sending your villagers over to tower. This is perfect. You tower resources that he's on, not resources that he was annoying about. It's like, yeah, now he has access to his gold, and that slowed you down and caused him to use 2 towers. But now that you're going to tower him here, he can't... You're going to have both stones towered. Again, I would have dropped some palisades real quick just to make sure so you couldn't batter down your tower with villagers. But you're sending your villagers to go tower the stone, which is huge. That's going to win you the game. You have your archers. Honestly, I would just keep these guys patrolling right here to make sure that they don't try to tower your gold. And then you just boom. Like, you should just be booming right now. You're building a market, which is good. You should build some houses. You built a house back here, nice. Make sure your town center is not idle, and you just need to make more villagers. So, send your archers forward, which is fine. Oh, come on. Come on. Send them forward. Get the tower. Where did your men-at-arms die to? Oh, he probably walked too close. But... So yeah, this is just where it's like... I don't agree with this. So, here's the thing. You know he has 2 towers, and so he's gonna pick off a couple of villas here. What's this tower doing? This tower is taking down this archery range very, very slowly. It's cutting you off of this stone and gold, which don't matter because you have these, and you're not going to mine these out anytime soon. These towers don't matter at this time. They're annoying, yes. Ignore them. You're going to lose, like, 5 villagers idle time is not worth killing these 2 towers right now. You send these 5 villagers to go grab you more gold, and all of a sudden you're going to have a lot of archers. You send these 5 villagers to mine you stone, or start making farms, you're going to get up to castle soon. These 2 towers just don't do anything. Like, yes, they're going to be, you can easily take them down later once you build make a couple men-at-arms. If you really care about it, make 3 men-at-arms to go take down these towers. But you're going to lose villagers here, and it's just not worth it. He sends his own men-at-arms forward. It's just not worth it. So, you're taking a lot of damage here. You're probably going to lose an archer for... Yeah, so I just don't think that's worth it. So you still have villagers here. Out of... Oh, he has the defensive tower. Okay, so you saw the tower. That's fine. I missed that. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But at the same time, so if he has his defensive tower, that's when you should, like... Again, this is why booming would be so useful right now. This is when you need to find where his next lumber line is. Send this man-at-arm to go look through here. Like, I would build a tower. I'd almost just instinctively build a tower right here. Let's see. Yep. So he has a tower here. Or he has a lumber line there. You know he has a tower here, so that's... Like, whenever your opponent, who is a tower rusher, builds a tower, there should be a reason behind it. This tower is clearly defending something. It's not defending the stone, because that's what this tower is doing. So you could build a tower instinctively right here, and that would cover the very likely areas of a lumber camp. You cut him off his second lumber camp, and he's fucked. So... Again, you have all these villagers and these army idle time, and that man-at-arms is just dying for no reason. You sent that man-at-arm to go scout, it would have been more useful. You send these villagers to do something. You're too busy microing these villagers and trying to make more tower defense. You don't need tower defense at this point. You have won the tower war. At this time, he is trying to recover, and he's still making men-at-arms. You just need to not send your archers forward to their death. Like, again, this tower... You could even let this tower go up. This tower does nothing. Need to micro this a little bit better. But he is going full men-at-arms. So you should just be booming and making an army behind us. Garrison here, guys. Garrison! Garrison! No! Oh, wow, this is unfortunate. He is attacking the tower instead of you. What is this micro, my man? Come on. You're better than this, Iron Chef. Oh, I think you're focusing down here. You build a house down here. I mean, that's fine. Use those villagers for something. Archers, again, they're not doing anything. Out of, again, check the lumber lines. If you had checked the lumber lines, you'd have had a better chance. Especially because you know he's not on this lumber line. And you know he's not over here. I mean, I suppose you could probably check that, but he wasn't over here for a long time, but he was still building stuff. So you should have known that he would have taken this lumber line, because that's the only other lumber line he could have taken, unless you wanted to move out here. But that would have been a bad idea. So you kill the vill, which is good. Don't send your vills forward like this. Keep them on gold. Build more archers. Use the archers. Use men at arms to take down towers. These villagers are doing so much better for you if they're mining. You don't need to take down these towers. These towers do nothing. Why are you sending everybody? Iron Chef, no. Please tell me that was a mistake. This is such a colossal waste. This is hurting me. Yes, it is. Because there's so much that you could have improved on. And this game would have been beautiful. But dear God. Send in the boys. The boys are back in town. This game is beautiful. It's like a Picasso painting. Alright. You have cleaned up the tower rush. Congratulations. What do you do now? You need to fix your economy. And you need to figure out what your plan is. Don't bother with this. Send these villas to start doing stuff. So you start sending archers. Again, you don't have the eco to build out of 3 ranges. But yeah, this is pretty much, you're guarding this lumber line. These villagers, honestly, just build it. Yeah, send these guys to go build a tower here. Keep them off of this lumber line. That's good. This point is principle. You got to be careful about principle, because principle can bite you in the ass and you can lose. But you got to use these guys for something. Refreshing your lumber camp. That's good. Again, if you had been booming this whole time and really like focused on getting the castle, the moment you hit castle and you just, yeah. So I don't agree with throwing away your archers to get a couple of vill hits. I mean, I guess you get a couple of vill kills, which is good. But yeah, keep wandering around, harassing. These archers are wasting. That tower's a really good tower because you're gonna hit the stone. But like, if you've been booming and you weren't trying to produce so many archers, out of a single archer, if you're going to make 3 archer ranges, at least use all 3 archer ranges, Iron Chef. Don't queue up 5 in a single one. So look at your so at this point, either A, hotkey or control group your archer ranges, so that way you can do that. Forgot to hotkey them. Or what I do now is I've learned to, so if we go here, I have hotkeys set up to select all archer ranges. So it's like Shift G, I can get all my archer ranges. And that way I don't need to use my control groups for that. And later on, if I want to do like these 3 archer ranges are useful, and then I have archer ranges up here that I want to separately do, then I would use control groups. But for now, I'd recommend trying to learn your hotkeys for select all of certain things, because you can just Shift G and then Shift A. Like, so that's my thing. It's like, I can do Shift G, Shift A, and within half a second, I've queued up a bunch of archers, spread out across all the things. Do you have, oh, you have 5 archers in there. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I would have used these archers to go harass and, like, check stuff out, but that's fine. So you're building your palisades, that's good. This tower is really good. You can almost even build a second tower here, but again, a tower here wins you the game immediately. So, like you just need to boom and go up to castle. So you already, oh, you hit castle, yes. Yeah. Start fixing your eco. Your eco's looking fine. Start making more archers if you're going to, like, really spread that out. I guess I'm assuming you're microing over here. He's building a watchtower there. Nice. I wouldn't have built so many houses here just because it is possible for you to lose this area. Building a second tower here would have been smarter, but this is all fine. Like, the fact that he has to spend so many resources protecting this area is totally fine for you. So Like, this tower is one of the worst towers he has to do. Like, he has to do this tower, yes. But, not stone for another tower. Oh, no stone for another tower. That's fair. But, like, forcing him to build this tower is huge. So. Because that tower's... Now you're being a dick. I mean, to be fair, this is actually not a bad strategy. Though he does have towers here, so he probably can arrange this. I would just build a tower here. Because, yeah, that's in the range. I think you're trying to be too cute. Like you said, this is about the principle. I think you're being too cute. You hit like, he's actually getting into castle. Like, he's getting into castle at the same time you will. So you're being a little too cute here. I think if you had just been smarter, like, honestly, even just putting a mining camp here and just stealing some of his gold would have been fine. If you really wanted to. But I don't think doing this is worth it. Because the wood could be going to archers. It could be going to more production buildings. It could be going to siege, which you'll need in a few. But, yeah. Third game in a row. And he beat you to Castle Age. Like, he should not have beaten you to Castle Age. Like, yes, your military is way better than his. But he should not have beaten you to Castle Age. And so, in Castle Age, these walls do nothing. These palisades don't really do much in Castle unless you build, like, multiple rows. Because, like, send one or two knights, and those palisades fall real quick. So you should have sent your archers forward to keep harassing. But, so you're building a forward siege workshop. That's good. Let's fast forward a little bit. But, so you need to micro your tower to hit his tower or something. Or hit the villas. I think those villas are in range. But, so you have crossbow. You're getting your upgrades. You still aren't using all your ranges. That hurts me so much. But you built this. Build a forward siege workshop. Honestly, that's good. Build a forward arch. If you really wanted to get your third archer range, this is when you would build your third archer range forward. But yeah, you send your guys forward. Honestly, again, if you had made a couple men-at-arms taking down these towers, those men-at-arms would be clearing out these buildings. But yeah, like, he is in such a bad spot right now. You should just be booming. Again, hitting this mill does nothing. I would much rather see these guys go and start picking out random vills, walk through the tower fire, start doing more useful stuff, or just wait for a mangonel. If you wait for a mangonel, then you're gonna be fine. Is this a special analysis? This is, I played a bunch of games tonight, and then Iron Chef came around and was like, hey, I want to do an analysis. And I said, sure. And I didn't know what I was getting into, because this game is insane. Okay, so you're hitting him off of gold, which is really good. This is when you want ballistics, for sure. But, yeah. This is when you definitely want to get a couple men in arm. Like, 2 or 3, how did I do tonight? I played really, really well tonight. I lost 1 in DM, and then I won 5 in DM, and then won my 1 RM game. Like, I did really well tonight. I was happy with how I played. So yeah, mangonel. Scorpions. Don't make scorpions. Don't make scorpions. Against archers, skirms, and towers, you need mangonels. So, if you had mangonel, like, making a mangonel, and then, okay, mining camp I agree with, but mangonel, and then sending a vill to repair the mangonels as they take down these towers, he can't do anything about this. Scorpions are only good to deal with his units, and at this point, you have him so contained that you need to start taking down buildings. So, and mangonels are really good at dealing with skirms. So if he's going heavy skirms, you're better off getting the mangonel. Also, the thing with Ethiopian archers are so good that they can fight skirms pretty well. So it's like, you should be fine here. Not if you take these fights, though. At this point, they're not, because these are elite skirms. So I would, yeah, you run away. And this is where, like, a mangonel rolling in here wins you game on the spot. But so you are still building more archers. You're getting your upgrades, which is fine. You need to use these scorpions. You have 2 scorpions, and you're losing archers to... Yeah, this is a terrible fight because you have 2 scorpions you should be using. And you're losing gold units to trash units. And yeah, you're microing and stuff. It's not... This fight I wouldn't take because you should be using your scorpions, which you're not. So... you're focused too much on this when you just run away with these guys, send your scorpions out, and clear everything up. He's trying to wall it in. That's cute. You lose 3 Scorps to Vills. Right, and if you had sent those Scorps in 4 earlier, that would have been way better. But again, like, Scorps don't do enough here. Like, 1 mangonel, and that you kill all these guys. So, you've lost a lot of crossbows. Like, I honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. So you're making a tech switch, I don't agree with. But you're making it, actually, I guess. But, like, this is still a very losable game, unfortunately. So, yeah, mangonels. Scorpions are only good for massing later, or if you have like pikes, if you have to deal with pikes or something. Like if your opponent had pikes, then scorpions are fine. But if he has skirms, just make a mangonel. If he can micro away from the mangonel, that's fine. But like this just causes you lose a lot of momentum here. You lose all these archers. Like this is really, really unfortunate. Like yeah, you're taking this is not good trades. At this point, yeah, you just keep running these guys away. Have the knight come in and clean it up. You should not be wasting your skirms to the... you should not be wasting crossbows. Like, you've lost all those crossbows. That was the best trade you could have hoped. Like, that could lose you the game right there. So hopefully you start attacking. He walls it in, which is honestly the smart thing to do. He has to make sure that he doesn't miss wall, which I've done in the past. So, which I don't know if he's fully... Okay, he's fully walled. They're still attacking, so you still have a way to get out. And then he sends more Vills forward. What is he doing? Is he going to build a castle up here? Probably. What's the Vill count? 58 to 33. So, like, that's fine. Like, yeah, you are winning. But he's making a lot of stupid plays. He very well, like, I would not have said, like, this is not a safe game. Like, you're dropping a forward castle, I guess, that denies some stuff. This is awesome. Yeah. Haven't watched this game yet? I didn't say that. I said I wouldn't be safe. I wouldn't feel safe if I was in your position here. I would not feel safe. Like, yeah, you're bleeding him dry, but you've lost so many units of trash. Like, this is still losable. No is typo. A little shaky today. Oh. No worries. Yeah, and I want to reiterate, Iron Chef, I'm not trying to be harsh here. I'm just saying that's like you're sending a principal message, which I totally am on board with. Like you're wrecking some of it. You're wrecking it. You have neuro problems, dude. Don't worry about it, man. No shit. No sweats. It's one of those things where it's like, this is a dangerous force. This is scary. Respect your opinions. Thank you. This is a dangerous force. This could get in and be dangerous. Again, oh, he's building a forward castle. And you're building a town center in front of him. Aggressive. Yeah, knight should just win. Knight switch, huge. I don't think he's gotten any spears. Yeah, you just let these knights run rampant. He's gonna... Oh, that's... you could micro, like, small little improvements. This is why you asked me to do this game. So small improvement here. You can micro this a little. Like, again, this doesn't really matter, but, like, you send these two over to the wood line. You send these two over to hit the farmers. Like, you could definitely clear out a little more. And then, at home, this castle's dangerous, but at the same time, if you're crushing his eco so hard that it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. So, hopefully I would have realized this and just stopped building this, because he's going to get that castle up before you can, and just build a defensive castle or something. But, like, yeah, your knights should win the game. Like, you have... I get your knight upgrades, because 2/2 knights would just win you the game on the spot. But, like, you're dealing so much damage. You wiped out... What's the Vill count? He's down to 28 Vills, yeah. You built this castle. At this point, you just boom. Yeah, you got all those kills. If you just boom right now, like, drop another TC, like that you're doing here. Drop another TC, make a bunch of knights to go deal with this. Drop a defensive castle. There's nothing you can do about that. Get your knight upgrades. It's about principle. That being said, this is, like I said, this is a kind of terrifying army. He has a skirm just picking you off. But yeah, if you had some more knights and they had their upgrades, building a siege workshop, I'm fine with that. Like this is instead of a siege workshop, mining camp. I would have built a forward stable, and then just start pumping knights out. Really wreck them. But yeah, like a defensive castle just stops this push in this tracks. You can also just at this point boom to imp and tread down that castle. But like at this point, I would just you send rams in. That's spicy. I'm fine with the ram play. Send your archers in to defend the ram, but yeah, keep sending in knights. Keep raiding with these knights. Like at this point, he hasn't shown many pikes. Even if he has a bunch of pikes, then you just run your knights back to get under the castle. At this point, you should just be killing as many villagers as you can. Like one pike here isn't going to do anything against 4 knights. So get your upgrades as well, and you're golden here. It's just about closing the game out, which you're doing a pretty good job at. Send the rams directly to TC. Not a bad idea. Again, yeah, this is all fine. He's going to send his army in. Camels, I hope that was a misclick, because camels, even as a principled message, don't work. So this is why you want your archers here, because the archers can pick off all these builds, which you're going to do, which is great. If it was a misclick, yeah, it's fine. At that point, you just treat it as a knight. Yeah. So in situations like this, I'm going to be super nitpicky here. Ignore these guys. Go and send these archers and kill as many villas here as you can. Just ignore these guys. They can wipe all this out. They can wipe out all these villagers. You kill, like, when you're so far ahead in eco lead, trading 20 villagers for his 20 villagers is 10 times worth it. Because you have the ability, and you already have the eco to rebuild. Whereas him losing all of these villagers, he has 10 villagers there. If he loses all these villagers, that leaves him with, what, like, 12 villagers, and most of them aren't doing anything. Again, this is one of those nitpicky, like, you're winning, like, this game is GG. He should call GG here. But it's one of those things where it's like, against really good players, maybe it's not GG. Maybe he's actually been booming over here properly. But, yeah, so now that you've killed a lot of those villagers, now you need to focus on these guys, micro them out. Micro them. Send your camels in, you may as well. Send the knights to hit the skirms. You've lost a lot of gold units, unfortunately. Like, these knights could have cleaned up all these skirms. These camels could be raiding. Don't lose the rams for nothing. But, yeah, like, you are clearly in control. He doesn't have a TC, so he's screwed. He's building a mill. I appreciate it. Yeah, like, you're still golden here. You just need to build army. Figure out a way to deal with this castle. Go up to imp, and you're golden. Building a TC here, booming, good. At this point, so, especially since you build a TC here, you could probably pay attention to this. Just move these guys onto this lumber line. It's super easy. Don't even bother building another lumber camp here. Just send them all over here with another lumber camp and you're golden. Lumber line over here, I don't know what happened to them. Oh, you send them all to build a castle. Perfect. That's a good castle. Good defensive castle. Yeah, honestly, even at this point, I wouldn't even bother trying to pick apart this army, because this army can't do anything. I just send these knights and camels right past and kill any villages you can find. It almost seems like at this point he's being salty, because you've clearly won this game, and he's just going to drag it out. Separate your units so they go faster. There you go. But, like, yeah. Now we can, like, so he's building a market to try to get a new TC. He is salty as fuck right now. Yeah. I feel like tower rushes tend to do that. If they don't tower rush and they get counter tower rush, then, yeah, it's a principle of the thing. It doesn't show in-game chat. Oh, is he really? Oh, no, it does. GG. Maybe we missed it, but... So that was a really good defense by you. Like, you did some pretty good defense. There's a lot there that could have been improved. But you had the right idea in a lot of situations. Like, the counter towers, well, I didn't agree with. You committed to the counter towers. Piss butt wall in the gold. Mental damage is a real thing, and he didn't have he was building all trash units, so that is harder to take it down. I don't agree with this strategy, but it wasn't the worst. It ended up working out. At the very least, it would tell you that he was taking that gold. When you did build this forward tower, you committed to the strategy and started counter-towering all of his other resources, which is what really helped win the game. Again, the third range, some of the build choices was terrible. Like, third range, I still don't agree with. But the knight switch, very smart. and it's just a lot of execution could have been a little bit better. But overall, like you held off very well. Outside of sending your villas to their deaths and trying to rush down towers, when you could have just sent some men at arms from this barracks. Overall, it was a like tower rushes are not easy to deal with, and you dealt with that one pretty well. So, pretty much, there's a bunch of situations where you could have won the game a lot earlier if you were tighter on certain situations. So, otherwise, that was a really good game, Iron Chef. Thank you for sharing that to me. Third range was dumb, so you didn't use 2 of them. Exactly. Third range, well, I mean, also the whole you don't have the eco to support 3 ranges, but that's a story for a different time, and I already went through that. Yeah, this was a really fun game. I think this would have been a lot more fun just as casting than an analysis game, but it was definitely like the cool thing about this is that there's so many small situations where if you are able to slightly improve in certain situations, the game was over early on. So it's like there's always room for improvements, and a lot of this improvements isn't too hard for you to achieve, and I know that you can. And the moment you start achieving some of those small improvements, you're gonna hit 1K. It's gonna be easy. So, this was a super fun game to analyze, and this probably will go on YouTube. So thanks for watching. If you are interested in having me analyze new games, I tend to do these Monday nights where I do Mojito Monday match analysis. I drink mojitos and do match analysis. There's going to be a link to my Discord down below. If you join that, there's a channel AoE2 match analysis, and you can submit your replays there, and I will pick some of them to analyze every Monday night. Sometimes I'll do other analysis on other nights, but priority is given to subs since I'm recently affiliate, and then followers, and then just if you submit a replay, I'm definitely going to put you on, and I'll add you to the list at the very least, and we'll definitely get around to analyze the game at some point. So thanks all for watching, and I will catch you guys another time.